Hi guys, Ray here from City Fan TV, and I'm joined by the main man, the man from Main Road, Bernard Dineen. How you doing, mate?
Super Bernie from Main Road. Yeah,
Super
that's the
Bernie.
one. Yes. I've
Oh,
obviously been spending a lot of time last 3 or 4 days looking at Main Road because I've been doing something on Francis Lee. So a lot of memories coming back.
yeah. Obviously we're here to do the Arsenal preview, but let's start with a a quick minute on Franny Lee, and obviously sad news. He was 79 years old. He passed away a couple of days ago, and he had been ill for a little while, but the only interactions I had with it were after games in the last few years, and put a picture up from I think 2019. He was a great guy. He's a really nice fella. Especially he had a few sherbets before I'd met him, and he was in a really good mood, And I said we were thinking of doing a podcast, Bought from the Blue podcast, on the Franny Lee years, and he said, "Yeah." I said, "Would you get involved?" He said, "Yeah, just write to the club, and and I'm quite happy to be involved." Unfortunately, COVID came along, and we didn't have a chance to meet with him and stuff. So, but he was a great guy. Any few words from you, Bernard, on Franny Lee?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, obviously, when I was a kid and we used to get the autographs, and I used to be a shy bugger anyway, but I'm fairly sure I would have got Franny Lee's at some stage. I haven't got my autograph books anymore from that time, but of course, and obviously the only other, obviously I have seen him in and around. Certainly the Etihad as well at Main Road, but the only time I actually spoke to him was at a racetrack. Obviously, he had a horse running, and I can't remember which one it was now. I think it's National Hunt he concentrated on. And I sort of shook his hand. I said, "Oh, Franny," I said, how was your nag doing today?" He said, "Oh, yeah, should be all right." So I put a few quid on it. I think he come next to last or something, So yeah, so cheers, Franny. No, but no, what a player, and what a personality, what a guy. I mean, obviously, we know about his comeback, and we all lived in hope when he took us back over. But obviously, it was bigger than he thought. Once I think, a bigger monster than he thought.
Yeah,
but
he had a big heart. He had a big heart for City.
That's right. It didn't demean him in any way from what he did as a player. It's a fantastic player. Or a fantastic chairman, because he loved the club, as simple as that, and he got that other guy out. So that was part of what he did.
I will just say about Swales. Swales was front and centre. He was the main man, Peter Swales, whereas Franny was there looking after the club, trying to do. He eventually, in the end, he didn't succeed. He failed, but he tried.
I think he set the groundwork, didn't he? I think he sorted the groundwork out for the future.
I think the thing is, he tried his best, and he wasn't in it for himself. He was in it for the club, the players, and the fans. So you got to give him credit. So. Yeah, it's a shame about Franny, and obviously,
a little tear in my eye. I must admit, I was thinking about him, and of course, I got emotional when I did the Colin Bell one a couple of years ago. But obviously, when I do the Franny Lee thing and record it, I'm perhaps not as emotional as with Colin Bell, but I'm sure I will get emotional.
I mean, I was on a long drive back. I was over in Ireland. I was driving back, and it was about a 4-hour drive. And then this news comes out when I'd left a few minutes before the news come out. So all I'm listening to for a couple of hours is stuff about Franny, stories, and it brought a tear to your eye. Obviously didn't know.
We've got Buzzer now, haven't we? We've got Buzzer knocking around. So let's hope, and Skip, of course.
Bucky's there, yeah. Skip is still knocking about. Skip is about 89.
Yeah, I've not heard much about him lately, which is always a worry, isn't it?
Well, we'll see.
What I mean? When they go quiet, you do tend to worry a little bit.
Yeah. No, he'll be right, man. He'll be right. Bucky's a real special character. Right, well, tribute's over. We'll move on to the game against Arsenal. Have a quick flip through what Pep said in his press conference, and got to be honest, I was a little bit surprised. So we start off, any injury news? No, Stones is not ready to play. Maybe for the national team, but not.
Why was he on the subs bench then?
Yeah, that's really surprised me. Now, does he mean he's not ready to start? I can accept that. I can accept if he says he's not ready to start, but hopefully nothing's happened to Stones.
I mean, my Pep's 11's gone because I put him in, but just
I left him out because he's just coming back. He needed some minutes for him to be my 11. But anyway, you're down to 10, so that stuff you straight away.
I did put a proviso in that if he's okay, I'll. Otherwise, blah blah blah. But there you go.
But anyway, so he was asked, Arsenal still title rivals? Pep said absolutely. Among Liverpool, from what we have seen, but to analyse the contenders in the first 10 games, and we haven't even played that. We have to wait, but the big clubs will be contenders. How are you coping with that, Rodri? Pep said, yeah, we will see what happens. I start to talk today with my staff. We have to analyse, train this afternoon and prepare tomorrow. Rodri is one of the two or three best holding midfielders in the world. So his influence on the team is going to be big, but he's not there. We've coped with absences in the past and we'll have to adapt. The team spirit and relation is much more important than any tactic. If you've got a good relation, if one player makes a mistake, your teammate is going to help you. The relation is so important. And when we have an absence as important as Rodri, we need to look deep inside us to solve it. We cannot start crying and complaining. We have to find a solution. And 11 players will be trying to win in London. Are you listening, Mr. Klopp? Are you proud of the youngsters stepping up? Pep said, I'm delighted for everyone, young and senior. We know where we come from with the travel. We could play better or worse, but the training sessions, the focus of the team is still there. The last few games, we're top of the league, and in Champions League, we make a big step in qualifying, which is the most important thing in this month by far. Then it's focus on the Premier League until the Champions League starts again. Thoughts on VAR? I said before the game against Leipzig, it was a mistake, accept it. The humans make mistakes, and VAR is there to reduce the mistakes humans do. We do. Hopefully, it finishes here and gets better. The Premier League and people from VAR will try to improve it. The reason VAR was implemented was to make our game more right, and hopefully, it will be better in the future. What you want better against Arsenal? Different games. Premier League is difficult, and Leipzig was too. For Wolves, it's completely different to Arsenal. Wolves defend from 1 minute. A holding midfielder goes with Matteo. I don't think with Arsenal that's going to happen. We have to adapt. We know each other quite well, and we'll see. Like I said, Rodri is not here, and we'll find a solution. We'll decide today or tomorrow on how we're going to press. The moment a player is not there, they're out. I don't think about it. He's away now on holiday, and he'll be back again. He'll be back after the break for Brighton. Goals. Pep said, I think since we arrived, we score a lot of goals. We have the ability with different formations, build-up and pressings. We have a lot of goals, and that continues. De Bruyne is still involved. Pep said, different timings because he comes in for treatment. But I see him every day, and he's getting better. His mood is good. Hopefully sooner than expected, he will be back. Preparations for Arsenal. Play it down. The second leg against Arsenal, when they come here, it will be different with a lot on the line. What I want is to arrive in February, qualified for Champions League knockout stages, to being close in the competition, close to the top of the league, the distance short, and have the last 10 games in our competition. Let's go again. 2018 was the last time we lost back-to-back games. Pep said this happens. Shows how good we have been. 2018, we've done incredible. The manager is so good. Struggles are facing Arsenal. Last question. They're a good team. Second, they make man marking sometimes, allow you to do some process, but after that, they are so aggressive. They have a clear pattern and a really good team. They fought to be champions, and now they're here again. Arsenal are back. When I was a young boy and at Barcelona, Arsenal always were there. I saw them fighting with Fergie's teams, but now they're back. When you look at the calendar, going to the Emirates is one of the toughest ones. Are Arsenal stronger than after last season's title fight? I don't know, because I'm not in the locker room and I don't talk to them. I know Alex and I know Jesus, but the rest I don't know. But they are still there. The recruitment they have done is top. Exceptional level of players. The keeper, Havertz, Rice, they are a good team. Well, that's interesting stuff from Pep. First question, obviously, I'm going to ask you about Stonesy. Stonesy's not there. Like we said earlier, he was on the bench the other day. What do you reckon? Are you obviously, I guess you're going to be like me, disappointed that Stones isn't ready to start.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a hell of a game to throw him back in straight away anyway, wasn't it? But if he had, obviously he's probably got worries because he's obviously thinking, You know, you look at how Lewis played the other day, for instance, and I think he's got plans. But then you look how Kovacic played against Wolves, you think, oh God, what sort of performance was that? You know, that's a worry. So you did perhaps want the opportunity of getting Stones in there, but I think Pep will be not worried about it, but it's a bit gutting. I was hoping he would play, but as I said, I did put him in my 11, but I was just hopeful, really. But I wasn't really. But I thought, yeah, it's okay. We'll be okay. I mean, it's a hell of a game to throw him in at anyway. If he's on the bench again and he gets a few minutes, it might be a good sign that things are going okay anyway. You know, so it could be a bad sign. Hopefully, it's a good sign. Give him a few 10 minutes at the end of the game. But I think with Rico Lewis being hyped up by Pep, I think
he'll be dropped.
People see a key role there for that young lad.
No. When Pep hyped up Doku, I said next game he'll drop Doku. Next game he dropped Doku, so he's going to drop Rico Lewis. That's my bet. The other thing
I plumped for him being in there. I plumped.
We'll go through your team in probably later in the show. I'm interested in another thing Pep said when he was asked about Rodri. And it seems like they've not even discussed the strategy and the players for the weekend. Yes, I know there's more training sessions, but that surprises me that he says, we'll train and then we'll analyze and try and sort things out for the game against Arsenal. And I'm thinking, surely you'd have done that already. Are you surprised by that, or you just say you can only play one game and then think about the next game?
Well, the fact he said he didn't know anything about the Arsenal players as well. Didn't he say obviously he knows certain things, but he's not been looking as though he hadn't looked at how Arsenal playing this season.
I think he's talking about the locker room. He says, "I know Jesus. I know what they're like in the locker room." Rather than the others.
But that's at the end of the day, they're unbeaten. So I mean, is it really significant? I mean, the fact is the locker room should be quite reasonable at the moment. They've had a couple of home draws, which they wouldn't have liked. They would have liked to beat Tottenham, like to beat Fulham, of course, the 2 home draws. But I think it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird what he said, to be honest. I'm sure it's not what, I'm sure we knew Rodri was missing. We knew Rodri, perhaps something he did at Wolves, perhaps something he did at Newcastle. He was building up, and that was a total failure both games, unfortunately. And of course, with the more successful Leipzig under our belts, I think he was planning things, obviously. Yeah. As I say, it wouldn't have surprised us, would it, if Rodri hadn't played against Leipzig? Because we were sort of half and half thinking, we might. Well, you said he might, because he drops players that get sent off. But hey, you don't do that with Rodri. But wouldn't it be better to do it without Rodri? But then again, we got the 3 points on the board. And that's all.
I think we discussed this last week, and I think we agreed that the 3 points against Leipzig, or not to lose against Leipzig, was more important than teaching Rodri a lesson.
I'm more interested in the Kovacic, because Kovacic didn't play against Leipzig. So I'm more interested whether, that was purely, yes, he's definitely going to play now against Arsenal, and hopefully far better than he did against Wolves.
Or is it?
But he has to come in, surely, Kovacic, now for this one.
I don't know. Or is it that he was so bad against Wolves that he thinks, I can't believe that. I can't believe that person.
I think Kovacic played that bit of that role, didn't he? The bit of the Rodri role, and it didn't really work out. He didn't have Lewis up with him, did he? So that might be a difference.
This is my next question. Who do you see as playing? Let's say there's 2 players. On Wednesday we had Rodri and Rico Lewis. Who are the 2 players you'd have in front of the back 3 or 4?
I think you'd have to have Kovacic. I mean, as I said, I'd have to forgive him that Wolves game because he's been playing very, very, very well. I wouldn't particularly have Nunes, even though he could probably do it as well. I wouldn't stick him in there. But I obviously, in my 11, I we'll talk about 11 in a minute, I had sort of Stones and Lewis. But obviously, we don't have Stones. So Akanji, for me, isn't working in that sort of role. No. So that's a big problem for me, Akanji. I think even when he's not played that role, I think he's struggling a bit this season. That's a bit of a worry after being one of the first names on the team sheet last year. So we'll talk about in a minute more about the team, but of course we've got Bernardo back as well, who can
big help.
play from left back to left wing. It doesn't matter with Bernardo, so perhaps he'll utilise him and Lewis in some way. I'm thinking if Lewis does play, of course.
I can't see him playing Bernardo and Lewis as the two guys.
No, I think it's the legs. I think it's the fact we'll have those legs in midfield against Arsenal. I think that if you look at the team I'm going to come out with, he's got a lot of legs in that midfield.
Yeah, it's difficult. I'm just thinking that your options basically, as let's say Lewis is there, your options are Kovacic, Nunez, Akanji, Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips, you have not mentioned him. What have you got against Calvin Phillips?
But it doesn't come into my reckoning, mate.
Who else do you think could play there? And I don't want someone to play there to get away with it. I don't want you to say, "Oh, why don't we try Guardiola? Let's put Guardiola there. Aki on the left back, Walker on the right, Diaz in the middle, and Guardiola as a DM." It doesn't sound good to me.
I mean, you think about the last time we beat Arsenal, last 3-1, wasn't it? Last in February, was it February? I think we beat them 3-1.
No. We spanked them at Etihad in April.
No, I mean at their place. I'm saying it's a different ball game at their place. I think Arsenal at the Etihad, I'm not worried at all. Arsenal at their place, they give us a couple of scares over the last 2 or 3 games, even though we managed to win them. But last year we were a little bit better. But you're talking KDB, Gundo, Rodri, some other guy that I forgot that we sold that was playing last year. So there's 4 key players that are not going to play through injury, suspension, or we've sold them. Simple as that. So it is a bit of a worry. But he did play a funny team last year. I remember it didn't on paper. It looked a bit weird. The 3-1. I haven't got it in front of me at this point in time. But I remember looking at it and thinking, well, if that's my starting point for what he played in February, who have we got available now for this? And there were 7 players we've currently got that was in that team in February that will start, as far as I'm concerned. But I was trying to figure out where the hell he was going to put the other guys, with to make up for people like Gundo and Rodri. But it was difficult.
That lineup last season, I'll tell you who it was: Edison, Walker, Diaz, Ake, Bernardo Silva at left back, Rodri, Mahrez, KDB, Gundogan, Grealish, Haaland.
Yeah.
So, that was when he experimented with Bernardo at left back and then moved him to the middle. Bernardo got roasted there. It was very painful watching. But hey, we spanked him. I
even thought he might drop Haaland.
Wow, no, it's not.
No, with Alvarez has got to get a game. Surely he's got to be a shoo-in. Surely, but again,
let's do it. Let's take that big step, Bernard. Big steps now. Let's look at a potential 11. Okay, I'll start us off, and then you can go for the next one. I'll have Edison in goal. Your turn. Defense. Pick a defender.
Walker.
Oh, Ruben Diaz.
No, we're struggling. No, because he had Stones, so I can't say Stones because there's no way he's going to play.
3 or 4 at the back.
Yeah, he's not going to play Stones. I mean, Akanji didn't play, did he, in February?
No.
At
Are you playing 3 at the back or 4?
I'd have to stick Akanji in on the basis that you might utilise him in front of the, moving in and out of the back 4 as well. But I'd have to stick Akanji in for Stones.
So you put Akanji in. Then I'm going to have Gvardiol. I'm going to have 4 at the back. I'm going to have Gvardiol at left.
So we miss out on Aki, obviously, based on that. He's not going to be in midfield, is he?
Having said that, Aki has pockets Saka.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you have if we could have Gvardiol and Aki.
But the other option is to have Ruben Diaz and Gvardiol at centre backs and Aki at left back.
Yeah, that sounds better to me.
Sounds better, and leave Akanji out. And then, okay, so I've done the left back. Your choice for midfield now.
Obviously, I'm sure we've got to go Kovacic. He's got to put him back in.
And I'm going to go Rico Lewis.
Well, I've got him as well. But
that's it. So we've done 4. We've done 2.
Yeah.
So we've got
Bernardo.
You can have Bernardo on the right. Wow.
Well, I've still got 3 to play with, but yeah,
No.
Bernard will be on the right.
Bernardo on the right.
Foden will be in a pocket somewhere.
No, you see, this is where I'm going to change it. You're having Bernardo on the right.
Yeah.
I'm having Foden on the left.
Right.
So you've got 2 more players left. You can have the easy one, which is your big Nordic meat shield, or you can pick somebody else.
Well, I've put Alvarez in.
I'll put Alvarez behind Haaland, and I'll have Haaland. So I'd have
that sacrifices Doku, of course.
Yeah, we'll take a risk because it's Doku or Foden. Having said that, I don't mind the idea of Doku coming on in the second half, like he did against Leipzig, and lighting it up. But don't leave him with 10 minutes. I want him to have. Depends on the state of the game.
Yeah, that's what I said about Haaland not playing, because I'd have Doku playing, and then you can play Alvarez as a number 9. Or
the other thing, the thing that messes it up a bit is that Alvarez and Doku didn't start in midweek, so you'd think they probably would start on Sunday. So, I don't know how he does it. If you put,
if you're talking out of form, you wouldn't play Haaland, would you? Haaland's been rubbish. No. But we know what Haaland's like. Have 2 or 3 dodgy games, and then he'll come on fire against Arsenal, for instance. So
he's not scored, was it, in the 5 Champions League games? He's not looked great in the league. Yeah, he scored. He's still got 8 goals in 7 games, but he's missed so many. Honestly, he should have 15 goals this season in the league in 7 games. I have no qualms about that, because I reckon in at least 2 games he's missed 2 or 3.
But you have to keep him on, because he worries the opposition. Simple as that. Just being there,
and it helps create space for others. So it's going to be really interesting, because I feel Doku has to play. Now, if Doku plays, you've got to drop somebody. Yeah. But we're playing away from home against a top team in Arsenal. Give them their dues. And I think we do need to have 2 in front of our back 4. So it's going to be... I'm on tenterhooks. It's 2 days to go, and I'm sweating about who Pep's going to pick.
Yeah, I think the disappointment to me is that obviously Tottenham could go top with an early kickoff, so we'll be off top spot. If Arsenal do as we said, we could end up. I was looking at the thing, even if we have a reversal of 2 or 3 goals, and say Villa score 2 or 3 or 4. We could end up in 6th spot by the end of play on Sunday and into the international break, which will be so depressing. So if you think we beat Wolves, we had a cushion. We could have lost and still been top. It's like, I'm just really annoyed. I know he can't win every game. I know you can't, but I'm just so annoyed at that Wolves result, and it's just put extra pressure on us now. But I think we'll be. I'm confident. When we start talking about it, I lose my confidence a bit. But I'm confident. We've got a great record there, haven't we? Let's face it. Over the last few years. I know it's got to end at some stage. I know Arsenal have got to do so. I won't be too disappointed. We'll talk about score, I'm sure, in a minute.
Yeah.
I won't be too disappointed with a draw, but as I said, that'll probably mean we won't be top going into the international break. But I'm still optimistic we can nick it.
Yeah, I thought about actually mentioning this when you do you got a video and you try and think of your opening lines. And one of my opening lines was going to be, and I forgot about it, was that Wolves game. Now, Wolves are a team near the bottom of the table, okay? Wolves are sat there in 15th place. If they hadn't beat us, they would be in at least 1 place lower. They would have been on 4 points, which is the same as Burnley, who are in the relegation zone. So that's how much Wolves have struggled this season. They haven't played terrible in all games, but that's how much they've struggled this season. And here's the thing, and you can say, it's early in the season, it doesn't matter. If we had beaten Wolves, we'd be sat on 21 points. Okay? Arsenal on 17. Arsenal would have gone into this game knowing it's a must-win for them. Because if you lose, City are 7 points clear. Well, you ain't catching City at 7 points clear. They know that. If you draw, City are still 4 points clear. It's a sizable gap. So Arsenal, there's extra pressure on Arsenal to win the game. Now, don't get me wrong, Arsenal's still going to go to try and win the game on Sunday. But if we are on top and they're under a lot of pressure, they'll be happy with the draw. It still keeps it 1 point. 1 point is so different to 4 points, even so early in the season. So, look, I expect Spurs to go top because they're playing Luton away from home. So that's going to happen. And either Liverpool or, Liverpool might go above us as well. So we've got to, we can't afford to lose, basically. That's the minimum. We said this in the Leipzig thing. Would you take a draw right now? We said it about Leipzig. We both said we'll take a draw. We both predicted 1-1. We were both very happy to be wrong when we won 3-1. Would you take a draw with Arsenal right now? You're going to say yes, I know it. You're trying not to, but you are going to say yes.
No, I think we can beat them.
Yep. I want to stuff them big time. But I'll take a draw.
I'm not saying it's not going to be easy, and we'll have to ride our luck a little bit. Hopefully we get a little bit of luck. But it's of course VAR and the refs will have a big input on it. Of course, I don't know who the referee is on Sunday. I don't stop doing that now. But I'm sick to death of them all being crap, so no point in doing it. So yeah, I mean, I'm just hopeful, because we'll say how hopeful we are in the scoreline now, won't we? I won't take the draw because I think we can beat them.
Go on. What are you going to go for?
A stunning, a thrashing 2-1.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go 2-1 as well. I think got to hope that we've got enough. As long as we don't lose, I'm not going to cry about it. I want to win, obviously, but a draw will keep us up there, whatever happens in other games. And that's probably at this stage of the season quite good for us. Johnny Stones, fingers crossed, will be back after the international break. Bernardo will be fitter. We'll have everybody available, apart from, hopefully no injuries, apart from KDB. So,
and hopefully he'll be back earlier than thought, we think.
Yeah, well, he's getting his rehab. He'll be back in December. Whether he's ready to play in December is a different thing, but he'll be back. Trust me, he'll be training in December with the team. So, you can mark my words. You can write that down, anybody, and you can at me if he's not on Twitter, and I'll ignore you. But Bernard's going for 2-1. I'm going for 2-1. Really important game so early in the season.
Mr. Negative, Andy Morrison went for 2-0, so I'll take that.
Yeah, take that all day long. Thanks a lot, Bernard, mate. You take care and keep smiling. We'll see you around Blues.